Before the match, most predictions were leaning toward Uruguay, a national team packed with European stars and coached by a manager of Marcelo Bielsa's caliber. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia entered the match as the underdog. But the World Cup has always loved surprising people. 27 shots from Uruguay, 10 shots on target, and a total of 14 corner kicks. Yet Saudi Arabia remained in front until the 89th minute. So how did Marcelo Bielsa's team escape one of the biggest upsets of the opening round of the 2026 World Cup? And before the match even began, there was a small but important history between the two teams. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay had faced each other 3 times before. The first meeting came in the 2002 World Cup and ended with a 3-0 victory for Uruguay. 4 years later, they met again in a friendly match in 2006. And Uruguay won once more, this time 3-2 in an entertaining and open game. And we also have to remember that the last World Cup meeting between the two nations came in 2018, when Uruguay secured a narrow 1-0 victory. But Saudi Arabia entered the match in Miami knowing that the entire world still remembered its historic victory over Argentina at the 2022 World Cup. And that made the question before kickoff very clear. Could the Green Falcons pull off another surprise against one of South America's giants? Saudi Arabia came into the match knowing that the group contained Uruguay, Spain, and Cape Verde. And many analysts believed that the real battle for the Green Falcons would be for third place. But taking even a single point from Uruguay in the opening round could have completely changed the shape of the group. And with what happened in the Spain versus Cape Verde match, which ended in a draw, both Saudi Arabia and Uruguay were desperate for all 3 points. The match was played at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami under extremely difficult conditions and high temperatures, to the point that the referee was forced to stop play for cooling breaks more than once. And from the very first minute, it was clear that Marcelo Bielsa had approached the game in his usual style: possession, high pressing, quick passing, and a constant attempt to suffocate the opponent inside its own half. As for Georgios Donis, he came into the match with a completely different plan: a well-organized defense, compact lines, closing down spaces, and relying on counter-attacks and set pieces. As the minutes passed, Uruguay began to impose its control on the game. Valverde was moving all over the pitch, Bentancur was dictating play, and Darwin Núñez kept trying to break through the Saudi defense from central areas. But every attack either ended at the feet of Saudi defenders or was stopped by Mohamed Al-Owais. Despite Uruguay's dominance, the goal came from the other side. In the 41st minute, Saudi Arabia won a corner kick. The ball was delivered into the penalty area, and goalkeeper Muslera made a disastrous mistake while dealing with it. The ball fell kindly to Abdulillah Al-Amri, who calmly took advantage of the opportunity and slotted it into the net. Suddenly, Saudi Arabia were leading 1-0, leaving the crowd in shock. By the end of the first half, Saudi Arabia was in front, but everyone knew that the toughest 45 minutes was still to come. Bielsa entered the second half knowing his team needed to change something. He began adjusting player positions, increased the attacking intensity, and pushed Valverde closer to goal. From that moment on, the match turned into a complete siege of Saudi Arabia's penalty area. As the second half got underway, the game became a special duel. Valverde tried from everywhere. One shot, then another, then yet another attempt. But every single time, Al-Owais was there. It was as if the match had become a personal battle between the two. Al-Owais began producing one of the finest performances of his World Cup career. One save, then another, then a perfectly timed intervention off his line, followed by yet another brilliant stop. Uruguay attacked from every direction, while Saudi Arabia desperately tried to hold on. With every passing minute, the feeling grew stronger that a Uruguayan goal was inevitable, especially after the post came to Saudi Arabia's rescue during one dangerous attack, while Bielsa's side continued to pile on relentless pressure. But time was running out, and Saudi Arabia was getting closer and closer to a historic victory. Then came the 80th minute, the attack that changed everything. A ball was played into the penalty area. Al-Owais made the initial save, but the rebound fell kindly to Maxi Araujo, who made no mistake and fired it straight into the net. 1-1. After Saudi Arabia had held the lead for a full 39 minutes, in the closing minutes, Uruguay pushed hard for a winner, throwing everything forward in attack. But Al-Owais was determined to leave with at least a point. More saves, unwavering concentration, and a Saudi defense that fought until the very last second. And when we look at the numbers, we can truly appreciate the scale of the battle Saudi Arabia faced. Uruguay dominated possession with 65% compared to Saudi Arabia's 35%. They completed had 584 passes to Saudi Arabia's 313. They attempted 27 shots compared to just 7 for the Saudis and hit the target 10 times compared to only 3 for the Green Falcons. Even the corner count heavily favored Uruguay, 14-4. In simple terms, Uruguay was the better side on paper. But football is not always decided by statistics alone. The undisputed man of the match was Mohamed Al-Owais. Any goalkeeper who faces 27 shots, including 10 on target, and still walks away with a point, has delivered a truly outstanding performance. The unsung hero, meanwhile, was Abdulillah Al-Amri, the goal scorer and leader of the backline in what was one of the toughest defensive displays of the tournament so far. The most astonishing statistic of the match was Uruguay's 27 shots on goal attempts, yet despite all that pressure, the game still ended in a draw. This match was a clash between two very different footballing philosophies. On one side stood Marcelo Bielsa, the coach obsessed with pressing, intensity, and possession. On the other was Georgios Donis, who understood that going toe-to-toe with Uruguay in an open game could have been footballing suicide. So he chose patience, organization, and a counter-attacking approach. This draw did not just earn Saudi Arabia a point, it also put significant pressure on Uruguay. The tournament favorites were expected to begin their campaign with a victory. Instead of 3 points, they came away with only 1. And in a balanced group, dropping points early can prove costly in the end. It's true that victory slipped away with just 10 minutes remaining, but Saudi Arabia left Miami knowing they were capable of competing, and Uruguay left knowing they had escaped, because sometimes a single point can feel closer to a defeat than a victory. When the final whistle blew in Miami, the Uruguayan players knew they had survived, and the Saudi players felt they had let a historic opportunity slip away. That may be one of football's strangest truths. Sometimes one team leaves with a point and feels happy. Another leaves with the exact same point and feels disappointed. But one thing was certain, Saudi Arabia emerged from the opening round with a clear message. The Green Falcons did not come to the World Cup merely to make up the numbers. They came to compete. In the end, Saudi Arabia may not have been the better team, and the statistics may have overwhelmingly favored Uruguay, but the Green Falcons left Miami with a message for every team in the group. If you want to beat Saudi Arabia at this World Cup, possession and a high shot count will not be enough. First, you have to find a way past Mohamed Al-Owais.